Hey guys, I'm Janet on occasion, and today we are taking the octuplets out to go fight. Was there more of them? Is there 9? There's most of these guys look identical. I'm pretty sure they're all related. I mean, whatever. I'd hate to be their mother because most of these guys are probably going to die. Anyway, so basically what we're doing here is it's the Empire versus the Wood Elves. I've brought a similar build to what I did the other day against the Vampire Counts. It's a very fire-focused build. Slightly different though. I've got the Warrior Priest as well. So you see he's down there, you can see he's got the Banner of the Eternal Flame. So basically means that everything around him is going to have fire damage all the time. So that's kind of cool. Will that actually show up? Yeah, it will. Look at that. Melee attack, fire. Isn't that cool? So that's going to be really useful, especially against the Wood Elves. So that's nice. Also, so front line, I have some spears with shields right in the front to absorb some arrows. I've got spearmen on the sides to just, well, basically they have more melee defense than swordsmen do, and they're cheaper, which is nice. But they don't have shields, and but they're also nice anti-large, so that'll be good. Also, you can see I have some crossbowmen this time. I thought I'd just go with some crossbows. I've got something a little bit longer range, and I can focus down more sort of, low armor units. And of course they've got the firing arcs. They can shoot over my front line, whereas the Free Company, they're not so good at doing that. But I still wanted to have a couple of these units. They're a bit better in melee, so stuff does get into the back. They're not as vulnerable. And also they're still going to be useful for taking out things like treekin, or treemen, or shooting at dragons, or whatever. It'll be really useful, especially when they've got some fire damage on them. It'll help. Obviously, I've got a Bright Wizard. The Bright Wizard has to be here, or else, yeah, I'm not got enough fire. I want to bring more fire. Speaking of more fire, I've also got the Knights of the Blazing Sun, and I got Voltmar. Voltmar, obviously, he's a big fiery magic man, so that's great. So pretty cool. So it's a fun build. I'm quite happy with it. And let's go to my opponent. So you can see straight away he's got one unit of Wild Riders hidden away in the corner. And obviously not really that hidden, but he's there. Also, you can see he's got some Way Watchers up at the top. That's going to be useful because he's going to force me to come join him in this, this area, so he can use the cliffs to his advantage, which is wise. But luckily for me, he did actually bring a lot of tree units. So you can see he's got 2 treekin in the front. He's got a load of dryads as well. He's got a branch wraith. Branch wraith is a good pick. He gives him earth blood, and he gives that plus 8 melee attack, I believe, to things near him. So that'll help his front line perform better. He's also got some War Dancers, just in case he needs to run in and cleave through some infantry nice and easily, which they will do. War Dancers are very formidable. And in the back line, you can see he's got a load of Glade Guard. So the Glade Guard are going to be useful, and they don't have Starfire Shelves or anything, so they're not the armor-piercing ones, but they'll be able to do a lot of damage to just, crappy state troops, because they're just state troops, right? So that's definitely going to help whittle things down, and also put some focus, fire on some things. It's going to be useful. Also, you can see he's got some more Wild Riders back here, and he's got a Glade Lord on a horse. So there she is. Yep, it's a lady one. I mean, you can tell that she's got ammo, so she's going to be useful. So pretty cool. So interesting armies. So let's speed things up. Should have probably sped things up sooner because we've got to walk forwards about a mile. God damn it. All right, let's speed things up a lot more then. So here he's coming in, so I'm jumping back and forth, just scaring him off because there's nothing else to be focusing on just yet. I probably could have been a little bit more shy and, sprung the trap a little bit later. But, nah, you get out of here. So, Way Watchers getting close. They'll be able to attack soon, which is a bit scary. So, at the moment, I don't really want this open to me, but then I guess I do have spears, so I do end up moving forwards a bit. So, here we go. And, yeah, my cav are just going to wait in the back a little while. They'll move forwards, to follow these guys. But, I'm in no rush, because I want to keep this guy, at arm's length. And I can see these guys up here, I think, at this point. So, I want to be able to sort of deal with this guy on my own terms. Of course, he is just going to hold here because he wants to be able to use this. He wants to be able to use this terrain. And the Way Watchers now have gone right around because you can see I have nothing else up here. So they're in a perfect shooting point. But I've got Voltmar away from the cliffs because if he's over here, he can't get focused down by, crazy ambushes over here. So so that's pretty useful. But, I've still got the Warrior Priest on this side to give support to the other end. So that works out fairly well. So here you can see the Wild Riders are coming in again and they're running away again. But that's going to happen, quite a few times. So, let's see, am I in range yet? You can see right on the border of my range here. So these crossbowmen are going to start firing soon. Way Watchers still not on fire at will, so they're going to be holding out for a bit. So here you can see he's going for my Free Company with his archers, which is a good call. You want to take them out early, because they are going to be quite formidable, They will do some good work, but they're going to be very easy to take out from range, because they don't really have the range themselves, so, it's not ideal. So here, I'm pretty sure his aura is actually going to leave here. So if we hover over these guys, they have lost their fire attacks, which is a bit of a pity. So they're not going to get the fire bonuses against the treekin. But all the stuff in melee will get a fire bonus against all this stuff. All this stuff is weak against fire. So you can see here the Treekin are taking a ton of damage, so that's going to be very useful. And, you know, these spearmen, now with fire attacks, they're going to do much better against the Dryads than they otherwise would. Obviously the Great Swords should get through this stuff pretty well, but they are taking a fair bit of damage. So over on this side you can see my Free Company militia got very injured. Here the Knights of the Blazing Sun have got Prey of Anathema on them, and they're taking a lot of focus fire. These ones are chasing off the Wild Riders, and I am actually using my crossbowmen to shoot at cavalry. So that should help. But you'll see, this is you know, this is worn off. So now I can actually get these guys in the flank and then start shooting at them. So the front line is starting to buckle. You can see these Dryads starting to fail here. These Treekin are starting to fail, which is great. But here, really nice pendulum. Does a lot of damage to my spearmen. I probably would have gone down the middle line to try and do some more damage to the great swords that are probably the biggest threat. But if he can buckle the edges, he can get these Dryads in the back, and that's going to really hurt. So over here, I did manage to run off those Wild Riders, which is good news. My Free Company are coming back, and these Wild Riders are actually doing a lot better, but by the looks of things, they are retreating, so that's good news. So as they're trying to run, I'm stabbing them with lances, which is always good. And I'm firing on them too. So Way Watchers obviously joining in this fight, so it means the Knights of the Blazing Sun are going to get a lot of, you know, a lot of hurt from them. So that's very scary. So I'm pretty sure this is another, another Flaming Sword of Ruin. Just want to finish this edge off so I can start curving around. So I've got my Great Swords fighting War Dancers, and honestly the War Dancers will probably win against a slightly injured unit Great Swords. That anti-infantry bonus helps them get through this so quickly. And, you know, Great Swords, they got anti-infantry, but they're anti-armor, really, you know. So against something that's basically naked in terms of armor, that bonus isn't going to help them, and yeah, they're just not really going to get as much damage done. The War Dancers just hit a lot harder, so that's very scary. So these War Dancers are dealt with. I'm getting a load of my ranged units back. Over here you can see Knights of the Blazing Sun got stopped by the Glade Lord as they were heading to the Way Watchers, but they're going to keep going for the Way Watchers. Going to keep trying to get them in here and do some damage to them, but that is tough. So over here the Treekin are running away, which is excellent news for me, but still loaded Glade Guard, and they've still got a fair bit of ammo left. So over here I actually had the Knights of the Blazing Sun join this fight, try and finish the Dryads off. You know, their fire damage is going to help, that charge bonus is going to help, but actually they are holding really well. Dryads surprisingly robust. It's pretty bizarre. So here, another spell coming down, Flaming Sword of Ruin I imagine? Yep. So that's going to give everyone bonus fire damage, which is nice. Also, Dryads, they do have physical resist. So that magic damage as well with the Flaming Sword of Ruin, that is going to help negate that. So that's going to let them, you know, get chopped up even quicker, which is actually great. So it is nice. There's sort of a double whammy there. It's the weakness to fire and the physical resist. You know, I can both take advantage of using that spell. So Flaming Sword of Ruin, really useful. So here you can see Voltmar almost managed to take out this Branch Wraith, but the Branch Wraith is getting away. I'd love to wipe him out, honestly. So here you can see the War Dancers have been going from, you know, unit to unit, and they are getting a lot of work done. Ideally, I should have been having my ranged units focus down the War Dancers before they get into combat. That was a bit of a mistake on my part. I was aiming for other units, I was trying to deal with this cavalry in the back, but that's the beautiful thing with this kind of tactic. You know, you had all the cavalry causing harass in the back line, so my back line had to deal with them because they were the biggest threat to them. But of course the biggest threat to my front line was most vulnerable to archers, but I was too distracted. So beautiful play there really, you know, making sure that I'm sort of having to focus on all these different sides. It's very cool. So here, once again, trying to deal with these Wild Riders. The War Dancers are just having a whale of a time. How many kills are they up to? 99, which is very scary. These archers, they're still firing, whittling away things. I got one very haggard unit of Great Swords over here. They have got another unit somewhere that's running away, unless it got completely shattered. That is possible, because yeah, those War Dancers, they are quick. So here, you know, I've got my Free Company, I think, yep, facing this way, but the Glade Lord took that initial volley, and now the War Dancers can come in and kill everything. So here, I did manage to break these guys. Those Dryads, amazingly, are still going, which is pretty crazy. These Great Swords, they're taking some damage. These Treekin are trying to chase off some fleeing units. The Knights of the Blazing Sun are back over here, and these Knights of the Blazing Sun have finally gone to these Way Watchers. These are very high value, so it'll help trigger army losses a bit quicker, because as you can see, we're both incredibly haggard, but it's slightly in my favour right now. So I really want to take these guys out. Obviously the fire damage is going to help against the Treekin here, which is pretty good, but this is tough. This is pretty tough. This could go either way at this point. That is not ideal. So over here, Treekin still chasing off my Free Company, but that's fine, honestly. I'm happy for them to do that. Those Treekin will be much more useful in here, bogging down units. So finally managed to break these War Dancers, and now there's a Glade Lord fighting here. And look at that, they're shattered, yay! So here, trying to get this Branch Wraith again. And over on this side, I actually use a burning head. So, because I realise, unless you overcast it, it doesn't do a huge amount of armour piercing, but these guys have no armour and these guys are weak to fire. So one burning head through here, it's not going to do as much damage to my Knights of the Blazing Sun as the enemy. And that actually tipped it in my favour, and now these Knights of the Blazing Sun can shatter these two units. They can just chase them down, so that's pretty great. Unfortunately here, these great swords are wrapped up fighting the Glade Lord. They're going to do some good damage to the Glade Lord, but they're not going to win this fight. Basically they're just here holding him in place, and yeah, that's all I can do really. These Knights of the Blazing Sun, they've broken. Hopefully they won't run over the white line, but it looks like he's trying to chase me down, which is a good move to be honest. These guys are out of ammo, you may as well try and chase things off. So now the Treekin is shattered, so now it's just those Way Watchers I need to deal with. Over here, my Warrior Priest is finally broken, which is a real pity. And yeah, those Glade Guard almost out of ammo, but that last shot managed to kill him, which is really upsetting. Poor Warrior Priest, he fought well. So here, Voltmar now is getting focused by pretty much everything. But honestly, he's got fire damage, so, you know, the Treekin aren't really going to do a whole lot. And magic attack, so, you know, the physical resist isn't going to help either. Try and get a Fireball, and I miss, which is such a shame. So now here, you know, the Bright Wizard bogged down here. It's not ideal, honestly. He shouldn't be in combat like this. But I'd pretty much run out of Winds of Magic at this point. So Spearman run in, try and do some work. Voltmar is, you know, punting this Glade Lord in the back, who seemed a bit stuck. But he's getting away. And, yeah. So, yeah, my Knights of the Blazing Sun did run away, which is pretty sad. Do I have any other units coming back? Let's see. I still have those Knights of the Blazing Sun, but it looks like everything else is broken. And I doubt anything is coming back. So this is basically all I have left, which is not ideal. It's definitely not ideal. So now the Glade Lord is on my Bright Wizard. That Bright Wizard is toast. I tried to deal with these Treekin quickly. I was hoping a couple of hits and I could take them out, because they're very low health. But Voltmar doesn't really hit very hard. That's one thing about him. He does have magic attacks and fire damage, but his weapon strength is very low for a Lord. So, you know, he's more about sustainability and his buffs and, you know, using banishment and stuff like that to get damage in. But he is unbreakable, so he's going to be here a long time. So here you can see the Glade Lord is just going to chase off this Bright Wizard. This Bright Wizard's not coming back. And, unfortunately, all my buffs have gone for, you know, nothing, because all of my units broke before the buffs could really come into play, which is a pity. But, hopefully, I can take out this Branch Wraith. As you can see, he's really not happy about being charged like that. So more units just shattered, so those great swords aren't coming back. But I do have my cav coming, so I just, you know, 19 Knights of the Blazing Sun is actually pretty good. You know, at this stage of the battle to have them coming back. So here, Bright Wizard's dead. That's a pity. So I lost a Priest, lost a Bright Wizard, but Voltmar's still rolling, so that's good. And he's got a lot of health, and he hasn't hit his healing cap yet, so he can regenerate for hours. This is basically just going to be a massive slug match. But at this point, with these guys approaching, yeah, just suddenly they felt very insecure about this. Without their lord nearby to encourage them, everything just breaks. So, yeah, it's basically just down to Voltmar, honestly. At the end of that battle, he had nothing that could deal with Voltmar. Even if these guys were all unbreakable, Voltmar would have won eventually, I think. They just didn't have enough, you know, enough sort of damage-dealing units to be able to hit him. If he came in with the Lord, Voltmar would just beat the Lord down. So, you know, it's not ideal. These guys aren't great duelists. So, yeah, Voltmar basically won it there, because he was far away from the Way Watchers. So the Way Watchers couldn't, you know, pick him off early. So that went pretty well. But yeah, I think it was a fun one. I think, you know, the crazy fire thing works well against vampire counts, I demonstrated the other day, but it also works quite well against wood elves. Thing is, though, yeah, I mean, if you suspect Empire are going to bring this kind of thing, you don't want to bring a load of trees. If he'd brought a load of war dancers, I probably just would have been hewn through. It would have been really tough. I think he could have just completely, you know, enveloped me. I was lucky that he had a lot of trees. He had a lot of stuff that was weak to fire in this army, and yeah, and not a lot of armor piercing, so he couldn't really deal with the cavalry as quickly as he would have liked. But you can see the archers got a ton of kills, the war dancers got a ton of kills. If I was able to focus these guys down earlier, and the war dancers down earlier, because the war dancers, I think just getting my crossbowmen to shoot at them from the beginning, I could have taken them out very quickly. But there was a lot of pressure in my back line. You know, the Wild Riders back there were enough to really, really mess me up. Because I think Wild Riders versus Knights of the Blazing Sun, I think it's a pretty even fight. Because Wild Riders are very good on the charge, very, you know, they're just very glass cannon-y, right? They'll do a lot of damage, but they're easy to take down. But they don't have a huge amount of armor piercing, and Knights of the Blazing Sun don't have quite a lot of armor. I think it's a fairly even fight. So really, I wanted 2-on-1, and I obviously couldn't do that. So I had to bring in some support to help, especially because he had the Way Watcher support, you know, in those engagements. So it was really tough, you know, knowing how to sort of split up my men. So yeah, but I should have taken out the War Dancers earlier. But still, that was a great fight, and it could have gone either way towards the end there. It's looking pretty iffy. But Voltmar is just so resilient. You really need to make sure that the tools you bring that can deal with him are dealing with him from the beginning, or you will end up just being out killed. You know, he's just gonna live through anything. And what do you do about it? You know, he's unbreakable. You can't scare him off. He's just gonna keep fighting you. And he does cause terror, which is also incredibly scary at the end of the game. You know, when all your units are super damaged, and none of them are immune to psychology. So, you know, you're gonna end up with just terror routing constantly, you know, once Voltmar starts hammering you. So, it's pretty scary. And a lot of AoE spells he's got, you know, those freebies. So it's gonna hurt, especially against a low-armoured, faction like this. That Grand Soulfire, it's gonna add up quite a lot. But yeah, it's definitely fun. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.